So the first concept is that, as an engineer, we need to be fully aware of the economic aspects of our project. So an engineer does not have to work alone in only the technical aspects. There's always an economic aspect to the project. Fine. So whenever we're doing a project, we should be able to calculate the time value of money, right? Okay, what is the time value of money? Let me now start off with something called the time value of money, right? Guys, can you see what I'm writing on the screen? Right now, students, are you able to see what I'm writing on the whiteboard? Is the whiteboard shown to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Okay. Okay, right. Now, what is the time value of money? Now, this particular concept of time value of money, it refers to the whole system whereby over a period of time, the value of money generally decreases, right? So, for example, if you plan a project in the year, let's say 2010, and the value of the project is supposed to be, let's say, $1 million, right? Over a period of time, that $1 million, if you don't complete the project within time, that $1 million project will become 1.5 million or even 2 million. So the longer you leave it out, the value of the project, it becomes more and more. All right. Okay. So what we then come to realize is that there's a particular concept whereby the value of money is decreasing. The value of money is falling as time goes by. All right. Okay. So as time goes by, the value of money falls. And this is what we call the time value of money. Now, so one of the most important concepts in determining the time value of money is known as interest. Guys, if there's any technical problems, I'm just going to pause here for a short while and just let you know that if there's any technical problems, for example, if you can't see the screen or if you can't hear me, please intervene straight away or put something in the chat box. But I prefer you to intervene and just tell me straight away, because I'm using multiple screens. I might be drawing some things. Right. Now, interest. Let's talk about interest. For interest, there are two categories. Okay. The first broad category, and you're already aware of this particular category, is known as simple interest. And the other broad category is compound interest. Okay. Now, guys, right now I'm discussing some theoretical aspects, but sooner or later we will start to move into some heavy duty things, and it's important that you have your exercise book and your pen with you. All right. I would like you to have your exercise book and your pen with you in order to be what do you call, in order to take down these exercises, right? We will be doing a lot of exercises. Okay, now let's look at a question, guys. Guys, is the full screen the whiteboard, or is it just half of the screen? Hello?
Full screen.
Okay, set. Nice. All right. Set. Because I don't know exactly what's happening on your guys' side. All right. Okay. Okay, let's attempt a problem. But let's attempt the problem. Okay, assume that no, before we get into this, before we get into this,
Class,
I just want to
funny.
show-
The class, let's go back.
Hello? Hello? Somebody is saying something? Okay. Okay, let's talk about interest now. Firstly, simple interest. Simple interest. This is what you did in secondary school. In the beginning, it will be very easy, right? Simple interest. Simple interest is equal to principal times rate times time. Very simple, right? Okay. Now, let's look at an example. Let's look at an example. Example 1. Let's say the rate is equal to 10%, and you have a let's say you take a loan of, let's say, $15,000 to buy your machinery, right? $15,000. The way I usually write $15,000, I might say something like this: 15K, right? Okay. Now, the rate is 10% per annum, all right? And you are given, let's say, 3 years to pay. We did this in primary school. I think I did this in class 7, if I'm correct. Which year did you guys do this in? This sort of problem? Hello? Which year did you guys do this in, guys?
I think high school.
High school, okay, all right. Okay, so the way we're going to calculate the interest on this is equal to, right? So firstly, what is our principal in this case? Our principal would be 15,000, right? Our interest is PRT, which is equals to 15K, right? Times rate is what? What is the rate? We have a rate of 10%, so that's 10%, 10 over 100. And the time given is 3 years. So, I mean, this is a very basic question. So 15 times 0.1 times 3. Can you bring that up, guys? 15 times 0.1 times 3 times 3. What do you get? $15 times 15,000.
4,500.
Times 0.1 times. So 4,500. Yes, you're right. That is the interest. So at the end of this particular 3-year loan, the final repayment, not final. We call it the total amount repaid will be equal to the principal plus the interest, which was how much? So principal was 15K and our interest was 4.5K. So therefore, total amount paid will be 19.5K, right? Okay, fairly straightforward. Okay. Let's look at a comparator. Let's now look at compound interest. So if you look at simple interest, that was fairly straightforward. Okay, compound interest. Now, what I want to do is I want to switch over to switch over to Microsoft Word. I'm not sure if I can use the table, if there's a table feature here. All right. I'll try and do it on this. Okay. So for compound, what happens in compound? Okay, guys, let me just finish with over here. With principal, with simple interest, the total payment is equal to, if you look at it, it was principal plus interest, which is equal to principal plus interest will be PRT. So if we make P the subject of the formula, 1 plus RT, all right? Simple mathematics for you boys who, you guys, you're doing this in what do you call, in engineering. This is very straightforward kind of calculations for you guys. All right. Let's now look at compound. All right, guys. All right, compound. Now, compound, we have to add the interest every year. Okay. Same as example, same question as example 1, but with compound interest. Okay. All right. Okay. So same parameters. So in compound, you have to calculate the interest on an annual basis. All right. So interest, I wanted to put a subscript there, but let's see if I can do it. Oh. Okay. So I'll just say I_1. So I_1 right is interest for year 1 is given by, right? So I_1, right? You write down I and subscript 1. So interest for year 1 will be P times R times T, right? Which is equals to P, which is 15K multiplied by, what is our rate, guys? 0.1, right? And time in this case will be just 1. So the interest for year 1 is what? Is 1.5K, right? $1,500. Okay, so $1,500. Okay. Okay. So the total payment, the total due at the end of year 1 is equal to what? There'll be the principal plus I1, which is equal to, how much would that be, guys? Help me out. So what was the principal? Principal was 15K. And what is the interest for the first year? Right? What do you get now?
16.5K.
16,500.
500.
Right. All right. Nice. So let's now move to the next year. Remember, it's a 3-year loan, right? Okay. Right. Now, interest for year 2. Interest for year 2 is equal to I2 is equal to principal times rate times time. That's the standard, right? But this time around, we're going to use 16,500, right? 16,500 times a rate of 0.1. We get this from our previous thing, and we have a rate of 1. What do we get?
1650.
1650.
Thank you. 1650, right? So total due at the end of year 2 is equal to, right? Okay, maybe I should have put something over here, which is over here, that we can call that as P1. Guys, can I just answer this phone call? Hang on. Hello? Yeah, all right. Let's continue. Guys, just give me a second. All right, guys, sorry, there was somebody calling. Okay, P1 plus I2. So what was P1? 16,500 plus 1650, which gives us a total of, how much is that, guys? 17,000? No, 18,000. Can you guys give me an estimate?
18,150.
18,150. All right. Okay, let's calculate interest for year 3, which is also known as I3. Okay, and that will go in the standard PRT. But which P? Which P? It'll be, okay, maybe I should have put the thing there, P2. Right? Okay, so that'll be P2 times RT, right? R and T are standard. What's our P2? 18150, right? R 0.1 times 1, that's just a formality, right? What do we get?
1815.
1815. Okay. Total due at the end of year 3 is equals to P2, right, plus I3, right, which is equals to, and this is, maybe we can call this P3. What did we have? 18150 plus 1815. What do we get, guys? What do we get?
19,965.
Okay. 19,165. All right. Now, let's.
965.
Oh, 19,965. Thank you, guys. All right. Okay. Now, let's now do a comparison. Between simple and compound with Kg1 and Eg2. Hey guys, I hope you writing this down in your exercise book, because I don't have this typed out. I'm typing it right now, and it'll come out in video format. Okay, so you can't copy and paste this in later on. All right. So in simple, total amount paid to be paid at the end of year 3 was how much, guys? 19,500. Right? And in compound, total amount to be paid at the end of year 3 was 19,965. The difference was $465. Right. This is a very simple example. It's a very simple example in the sense that, our rate was standard 10%, and our amount taken was only $15,000, right? In reality, usually people take loans out to buy a house. The value of the house is $450,000, $350,000, and all the banks, they use compound interest, right? They use compound interest, nothing else, right? Very rarely will you find that they're using anything apart from compound. Very hard. Sometimes some development projects, they will give simple interest, but compound is the one which is used. Right. Let's now move into another section. So if you look at our total interest payment from a simple interest point of view, it's principal into 1 plus RT. Let's derive a formula. Let's derive a formula for compound. Because my question to you is, if let's say if I had given you a term of 25 years, the method which we just did in example 2 takes a very, very long time. Okay? It takes a very, very long time for the method in example 2 to go and do something with a term of 25 years. So compound interest would be, if you look at it, principal plus I1, principal plus I2, principal plus I3. So if you look at it, it's always the previous year's example. So you will find that it turns out to be principal into 1 plus I. Okay, so let's now just do the derivation. So if we look at I1, okay, let's look at I3. I3 was equal to, what was I3 equal to? What was I3 equal to, guys? I3 was equal to, not in value, but in terms of formula, it was P2, sorry, it was P2 times R. KT is always 1, right? But then, what can you tell me about P2? What can you tell me about P2? Let's expand on this mathematically. What is P2 equal to? P2 is equals to P1 plus I2, right? And then times R, right? That's P2. Now, what is P1 equal to now? P1 is equal to P plus I1, okay, plus I2, okay, times R. Okay. Then, if we continue to expand this, right, what is I1 equal to now? Well, I1 is equal to P plus, what is I1 equal to? Well, if you look at I1, that's P plus P times R times T. P times R times, well, T is 1 year in this case, right? And that's I1 plus I2 times R. Eventually, the generic formula after doing a couple of this is that you find that interest in compound interest is equals to principal times 1 plus the rate to the power of time. Okay? Right. So this is the particular formula. This is the particular formula which we have to take heed of. P into 1 plus R to the power of T. Okay? This is taken to the power. Now, I believe there is another lecture tomorrow, and we will cover more details. Right now, I've just introduced you to the very basic concept of simple and compound interest, which you've probably done in high school. But it is important that you understand some of the more finer details. We'll go into other things called discounting, and as we go along, we'll pick up some other things. All right, let's do one problem. Let's do example 3.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So I have a question.
Yes.
For example, in both these examples, if we are paying more in compound interest, then
Yes.
why do we choose compound interest if we are paying more in compound interest?
Okay. Your question is, compound interest, you end up paying more, right? Why aren't people choosing simple interest? You have a very valid question there. The answer is basically nobody is offering simple interest. All the banks, because remember, the lender is the one which makes the money. The lender makes the money, and all the banks, they are all offering compound interest. So if you want to if you want to loan money, if you want to get a loan, you've got to adhere to whatever the bank is giving us. You've got no choice. The only thing we can play with, the only thing we have a choice with, is basically the interest rate. Some banks are giving 6%, some banks are giving 5.5%, some different terms and conditions. But generally, all the banks are giving the same rate. Okay? Yeah, I mean, all the banks are giving the same compound interest. We can't really do much with, we can't really do much with choosing simple. Simple, you might get it from a friend or if it's a personal money lender, but compound is the one which is the one which all the banks and all the lending institutions are giving. Even when Fiji as a country goes to an international bank, let's say Asian Development Bank or World Bank or something along those lines, right? Or IDB or something, they will always have to get a loan in terms of compound interest. So the question from Mr. Tavake is, so does interest for the following year depend on the leftover due for the previous? Okay, this is the example which I showed you guys is on the assumption that I want you to make note over here, that the example is on the assumption that there is nothing paid in the middle. All right, so this example, I didn't track the full question. The question is that nothing has been paid in the Middle East. All right, So you have to make the a whole lump sum payment at the end of 3 years. Okay, but if you are making payment, then the interest will be calculated on all right. Okay, all right. Let's do another problem. Example 3. All right. So this is an example in time value of money. Guys, if ever you guys, when I was explaining that part about the partial payment, did you guys hear that part, or was it just 1 or 2 students?
Muted.
Like, when I was answering Tawaki's question.
Not clearly, sir.
Okay.
Sir, your mic is mute.
At the end of the 3 years. Okay. Now, let's look at this problem in time value of money. All right. So your cousin, okay, your father. Your father, oh no, your uncle. Your uncle offers you 3 options. Uncle offers you 3 options. Guys, is the writing big enough? You guys can see this? Okay. He offers you option 1. Make sure you're writing this, all right? He offers you $100 now. Okay? 3 options for passing semester 1 exams. Okay, he offers you 3 options. Says, okay, you've been a good boy. You passed your semester 1 exams. I can give you 3 options. Option 1 is I'll give you $100 now. Okay. Option 2. He's saying that I'm going to give you $109 in 1 year's time. Option 3, he says, I'm going to give you $120 in 2 years' time. What is the best option for you? Right? Okay. Let's assume bank is giving, local bank is giving a 10% risk-free interest rate. So let's answer this question, guys. Let's look at option 1. Option 1. Principal is equal to $100. Right? So you're taking it now. Will you be gaining any interest? Interest will be equal to, anyone? Interest will be 0. Right? Why? Why 0? Well, because you're taking the money now. You're not going to put it in the bank. You're taking it away. All right. Let's look at option 2. Option 2. Option 2. Option 2 is 1 year's time. So let's do our comparison. If we would have taken the $100 and then, right? So what is offered? Option 2, what is offered? Offered is equal to he's saying, I'm going to give you $109 in 1 year time, right? But if you would have taken the option 1, $100, right? $100 and into 1 plus rate is 0.1, we would have ended up with, let's call this P1, we would have ended up with $110. So obviously option 2 is not a better option because he is offering you $109 in 1 year time. But if you would have taken the $100 and deposited this $100 into the bank, you would have ended up with $110. Let's look at option 3. So I just want to mention over here that option 2 is short of option 1 by $1. Yeah. Okay. Let's look at option 3. Option 3, guys, I'm about to finish now. Option 3. What is he offering you? Offering how much, guys? $120. Yeah, he's offering you $120. So your P2, let's calculate, but he said it in 2 years. P2 in terms of compound will be principal, the original principal multiplied by 1 plus the interest rate to the power of t, which we had just discussed early on. What was the original principal? 100 times 1 plus interest rate, 0.1 risk-free to the power of 2. What do we get, guys? Let's finish this off. Anyone help me out? Faster. We've got 1 minute to go before the system ends.
121.
121. Who said that? 121. All right. And what did he offer you? He offered you 120. All right. So this is, he offered you 120. Again, short by $1. Right? So, because if you would have taken the $100 in the first year and put it in the bank and it would have grown, you ended up with 121. Short by compared to option 1. So, best option is, therefore, best option is option 1. This is what you call the time value of money. You have to look at the different scenarios, right? If the interest rate would have been higher or slightly lower, if we do the same problem in, let's say the interest rate is 6%, obviously you get a different set of answers. Right? Okay. So the best option is option 1. How do we know this? Because we have done the time value of money. We have seen at what value will that money have in future years. All right. So basically, the concept is, let me just write it out over here in bold, and we finish off the lecture this afternoon. What is the value of money over time? That is what we are trying to drive to you this afternoon. Okay? All right, guys, that's it. Any questions before we knock off for this afternoon? Okay. If there's no questions, you can always contact me on the Viber group, or if there is some other serious questions, you can always email me if there's some coursework related matter. All right. Okay. Thank you for participating this afternoon. We'll be going more and more into lots of calculations. Today's calculation was almost like class 7, class 8 level, you know, like in high school, year 7, year 8 level. But slowly we'll get into more serious items. All right. Thank you for participating in today's lecture, and we'll see you in our next lecture. When is our next